absolutely disgusting that this isn't being covered in the corporate media, and there is not the indignant outrage that we saw at, Assad gassing his people, even though there's no evidence he did just gas his people. I hate to have to report it, but here we go. A wedding is hit by airstrike in Yemen, killing more than 20. This is a New York Times article. And by the way, the headline should be Saudi Arabia, funded by the United States, kills 20 at a wedding in Yemen. This is disgusting. An airstrike on a wedding party carried out by the Saudi-led coalition waging war in Yemen, changed that to waging genocide in Yemen, killed more than 20 people and wounded dozens of others, including the groom, Yemeni officials said Monday. The strike hit an isolated village in northwestern Yemen where families had gathered to celebrate late Sunday. After the attack, people posted online what they said were survivors collecting mangled and charred bodies. One widely shared video showed a young boy clinging to the shirt of his dead father, crying, "No, no, no." Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and other Arab countries, with support from Britain and the United States, have been bombing Yemen for more than 3 years to try to remove an Iranian-aligned rebel group known as the Houthis from the capital, Sana'a, and to restore the internationally recognized government. The civil war is part of a larger regional power struggle between the Sunni monarchy in Saudi Arabia and the Shiite rulers of Iran, and the Shiite ruler of Syria. Bashar al-Assad is a Shiite. The conflict has killed more than 10 million people, displaced millions, and caused what United Nations officials have called the world's worst humanitarian crisis. Yemen was the Arab world's poorest country before the war, and now it suffers from spreading poverty and a large outbreak of cholera. Officials from the Saudi-led coalition could not immediately be reached for comment about the airstrike. Oh, I'm sure they couldn't. But one told Reuters that it was taking the report very serious and would investigate. Oh, I'm sure there's going to be an investigation. Oh, I'm sure. Just like, Barack Obama's CIA and FBI. Oh, they did so many investigations about all those drone strikes that killed innocent civilians all over the goddamn world. And then we ask, oh, why do they hate us? Why do they hate us? Why do they hate us? First of all, I don't want to hear from the Defense Secretary, General Mattis, or these other military people that have gone up and spoken at the microphone about how we take every precaution not to kill innocent civilians. No, you don't. And by the way, Saudi Arabia is bombing weddings with the United States weapons. The United States is the largest funder of Saudi Arabia's weapons and bombs. Why? Because we have an alliance with Saudi Arabia based on oil. Oil. And there is a genocide happening in Yemen that the United States of America is complicit in. Let me repeat. There's a genocide happening in Yemen that the United States is complicit in. So why is it that when news reports come out totally unverified that Bashar al-Assad gassed his people with chemical weapons, wall to wall on CNN, wall to wall on MSNBC, constant in the New York Times, constant in the Washington Post, constant in the Associated Press. But when the Saudi Arabia, funded by the United States, is committing war crimes and genocide on innocent, mostly innocent people in Yemen. Jen, have you heard about this on CNN or MSNBC?
No.
Say that louder.
No.
Jen's
Never.
off to the side. She doesn't like coming on camera for some reason. Why is it this selective outrage? Maybe because CNN and Comcast and the New York Times and the Washington Post. Oh, wait, we know the Washington Post ain't going to cover it the right way because the Washington Post has a $600 million contract with the CIA. You know what else they're about to get? Oh, not, excuse me, not the Washington Post. Amazon has a $600 million contract with the CIA. Amazon owns the Washington Post. Amazon's about to get a $1 billion contract with the Pentagon. So don't expect much outrage that the United States is helping to fund genocide and war crimes on Yemen so that we could support our ally in Saudi Arabia, who is a war criminal himself. There was a great headline. There was a great headline, I don't remember where it was, but saying that the Saudi prince might let women drive, but he's still a war criminal. We are funding Saudi Arabia to commit genocide for oil. They want to take down the Iranian leadership for one reason and one reason only, for oil. And that's how the United States CIA has operated for decades. I learned that largely thanks to Oliver Stone. Great documentary, The Untold History of the United States. Let me read you this story, which I agree with. The U.S. can't call itself an ethical nation while it continues to sell arms to Saudi Arabia. Once again, U.S.-made weapons sold to our great friend, Saudi Arabia, are raining down on innocent men, women, and children in Yemen. How can we call ourselves an ethical, law-abiding nation when we continue to remain silent when such atrocities are being committed on a daily basis? We are complicit in the most heinous war crimes. Donald Trump, his enablers in Congress, and his supporters are guilty. Sorry to tell you, Independent, who wrote this started under Barack Obama. But yes, it's continuing under Donald Trump and getting worse. I shudder to think how they will explain their silence when they come face to face with their Creator. The feigned reverence for God and Jesus Christ is gross hypocrisy in light of our obsession for trade, profits, and lack of concern for innocent lives. At least 20 people died on Sunday when a Saudi-led coalition airstrike hit a wedding party in northern Yemen. Most of the dead were reportedly women and children who were gathered in one of the wedding party tents. The bride was among the dead. Medics and residents said more than 46 others, including 30 children, were also injured. The attack on the Yemeni wedding party was one of at least 3 airstrikes over the weekend that killed Yemeni civilians. A family of 5 died in an airstrike in the province of Hajjah, and 20 civilians died on Saturday when fighter jets bombed a bus near the city of Taiz. Please call the White House and demand an immediate halt to this madness. Yeah, well, you can call all you want. I don't think it's going to do much, unfortunately. But part of what America is a total disregard for human life in other countries. And I know I'm going to be attacked, oh, this anti-American. No, I'm not anti-American. The reason I say this is because I love America, and I want America to stand for what it portrays itself to stand for. Because it's not a shining democracy that the rest of the world envies. It's just not. We are an oligarchy that is going closer and closer to fascism. That's the truth. And as someone who is, I'm not practicing, I don't go to temple or anything, but I know Jewish history. I know the Holocaust. Well, maybe there's not gas chambers in Yemen, but innocent 10 million people have been killed. For what? For what reason other than oil, other than profit? And Barack Obama began the United States funding of this genocide. He won a Courage Award last year. A Courage Award. Donald Trump, it's not really Trump. It's Mattis. It's all the brainiacs that are basically pulling his strings. But yes, it's Trump. He's the president. All I could say is, what do you say? I don't know what to say.